and welcome to this new episode of Talan Talks Tech by Talan Tunisia. Actually, and as you can see, we're switching language. We're moving to English. And we're pleased to have with us today Mr. Ahmed, Senior Consultant on Blockchain Technology. Welcome, Ahmed.
Thank you, Farouk. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to be here with you today. Thanks.
So, Ahmed, before we start our talk today, can we know a bit more about you?
Yes. I'm Ahmed Ben Rouha, software engineer at Talan Innovation Factory, and I have specialized experience in blockchain. And I'm proud also to say that we contribute as a team to publishing some scientific papers and articles to the community and the blockchain ecosystem.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So, Ahmed, I have an idea about our today's topic, but I want to be sure.
Yes.
What are we going to talk about today?
Okay, today we are going to talk about blockchain.
I was sure.
I'm going to start by a simple question first. I want to ask you, what is blockchain, at least for you?
So actually, as you just said, blockchain, is for data storage, where the update can't be done directly. When we have to update, we need to request approval from the nodes in the network. And I also know that the approval is based on multiple algorithms. You can have 50%, some master nodes. I'm not specialized, but this is based on my readings.
Usually when we ask this question to someone, the usual answer we get is blockchain is Bitcoin or blockchain is cryptocurrencies. And having such an answer is quite a good thing to happen. Thank you. So I want to say that the first usage of blockchain was with Bitcoin. Arguably, there are some other use cases when certain people are going to say that there are some researchers previously before Bitcoin tackling typical subjects of decentralized systems that can be autonomous without centralized authority. And but to keep it simple, let's say that blockchain started with Bitcoin. Okay. And I want to give a simple definition here for people who are watching us now, that blockchain, as you said, we are going to change the word database to ledger because it's the most used word in the ecosystem. And for us, let's say that blockchain is a decentralized ledger that records transactions in a secure manner. That's the first part. We have transactions, we have ledger where we keep the transactions in a safe and secure manner. And then we say that transactions are grouped into blocks. That's where the word comes from, blockchain, because it's a sequence of blocks. And we where each block contains mainly the reference to the previous block because they are linked. And in addition, other informations like the timestamps and the transactions themselves. That's for the first part, for the definition of blockchain.
That's amazing. That's amazing as much as it's clear.
Thank you.
So, you were talking about Bitcoins.
Yes.
And Bitcoins are transferred.
Yes.
Okay? But the question, who released the first Bitcoin?
Okay. That's a deep question, and for that I need to go to some technical details. So here we have a slide that people watching us now are going to see it at the same time, and I want to say the word unspanned transactions output, which is UTXOs. So I need to explain this technical term because it's the base for all the blockchain, let's say the Bitcoin blockchain experience. And here, as you can see in the slides, we have two transactions that we call previous transactions. We have one with a value of 0.5 Bitcoins and the other with the value of 0.7 Bitcoins. And let's say that Alice owns these UTXOs. UTXOs are, let's say, simply that are transactions that you have received from someone, but you didn't spend yet. Okay. Let's compare to a bank, for example, bank application. If I'm going to ask you about your current balance, there is some kind of field in the database that mentions exactly how much you own. You have. Exactly. Yes. In Bitcoin, we don't have that. We have just all the unspent transactions. We go through all the system, calculating the sum of these unspent transactions, and it represents the balance that you have. Exactly.
Okay. That's amazing. I just want to ask a question.
Yes.
If I have, like in the example, Alice have zero point 0.5 and 0.7, and I would like to spend 1 Bitcoin.
Okay.
So transaction can be split.
Mm-hmm. Actually, what we do when we want to send transaction is to collect some transactions that are going to be the input for the new transactions that we are going to send. And of course, the sum of these transactions need to be more than the amount that we want to spend. So for our example here, if Alice wants to send some Bitcoins to Bob, she's going to use these 2 transactions with a total sum of 1.2 Bitcoins. And here we have, let's say, Alice wants really to send just 1 Bitcoin. What's going to happen here is that Alice is going to send 1 Bitcoin to Bob and send another transaction to herself.
Okay, so we'll have all 2 transactions.
Yes.
That are
Mixed.
consumed.
Yes.
Okay, and they're giving birth. If you can see, they're giving birth. It's more French expression.
Yes.
So 2 new transactions.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
1 transaction for 1 Bitcoin for Bob.
Yes.
And 1 transaction of
0.199. The difference between the amount in and the amount out is going to be what we call fees. Fees go to the miner. Why we?
It's like bank.
No, I would like to say no.
Banks are doing that.
Yes, but the difference between banks and miners is that the bank take fees as the miner does, but the bank have control of all the system.
Yeah.
When it goes to the miner is going to take that fees as an incentive, because the more we have miners in the network, the more robust and protected the system is going to be. And to encourage people to join this network, we need to pay, let's say, some fees, incentive for them to keep things going. That's the idea behind Bitcoin. So the miner is going to take that difference.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great. So actually, we're talking about money.
Yes.
Transactions. Bitcoin, which is a currency, is the only topic or the only way to use blockchain, monetizing payment, or can we use it otherwise?
Okay. Of course, the short answer is yes. We have a lot of usages for blockchain aside from crypto, sending money, and other topics. But first, I need here to go back to your first question, answering your question, how to receive blockchain, how to receive Bitcoin, is we have, let's say, 3 ways. Okay. We have the first one is from receiving this amount from someone. I send you a transaction, you receive some Bitcoin. It's simple. The second that we mentioned also is through mining. Mining is when we have a miner is going to create and validate blocks and add them to the network, and the miner is going to have 2 sources of income. The first source is going to be the fees. He's going to collect all the fees and the transactions and take them. And the second is by creating a new block, he's going to own some rewards. That is we call it the coin-based transaction, which is a transaction sent to the miner whenever he creates a new block. And now going back to the other question, sorry, I'm mixing things.
No, take it easy.
Thank you. The second question regarding the other usages of blockchain, with Bitcoin itself, we have a lot of talking about money transfers and all of that, and it's no new thing because Bitcoin was specialized for that. It's, even in the white paper of Bitcoin, we call it a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, and that's the main idea. But with Bitcoin, people started noticing that with transaction we can send some data and we can have some scripts, and that opened a new door for a lot of use cases. And I want to show here a simple example of another use case of Bitcoin, but to serve another purpose other than sending funds, which is called proof of existence. And this solution is a very clever solution. What it does is that it takes a document, let's say a PDF or a book or anything, they hash that document, and then they send a transaction with the hash of the document inside that transaction. And what we get here is that we have a proof that the document wasn't changed after that time when we had the transaction sent to the blockchain. It's like we have a proof that the document is permanent, and we take all the advantages of the blockchain, like immutability, transparency, and all the other characteristics of the blockchain. And here it was a simple example. There are many, but the idea is that when people notice that blockchain is not Bitcoin, blockchain got a lot more than just sending funds, they started other examples aside from proof of existence. And by the year, I think 2015, someone just had the idea, why not create a specialized blockchain that have all the necessary equipments to write code inside that blockchain, and you are going to call this new type of code smart contracts. Smart contracts are going to be code on the blockchain that have all the characteristics of the blockchain, immutability, transparency, and other characteristics. And this was the blockchain of Ethereum, created in 2015.
That's cool. That's literally amazing. Imam, I have a question actually. If we can build applications on blockchain,
Yes.
and blockchain is distributed, are we able to create applications based on blockchain that are private, or they are necessarily public?
Okay. So here, as I said, the creation of Ethereum, for example, was a mutation where we noticed that the blockchain is cool, it's good, but we need another blockchain aside from Bitcoin blockchain because it didn't give us all the necessary equipments to do what we want to do. And this idea kept on going whenever we had some specialized blockchain to serve an enterprise purpose, to serve any kind of other purpose. We created new blockchain, and the result was a multitude of blockchains. And to make it simple, we can categorize these blockchains into, let's say, private, public, and consortium blockchains. I'm going to go through each type, but here I want to say that even the characteristics of the blockchain, like transparency and other characteristics, can be altered to serve the purpose of our solution. So when we have a project, we need first to ask the right questions to figure our needs and to figure out which blockchain type to use in this project.
Okay, so which type fits our privacy level
Exactly.
we want to respect?
Exactly.
Okay, so please go through the three types.
Yes,
I'm waiting.
yes. So to keep it simple, we have the first type, the first question for our blockchain: is it going to be permissioned or permissionless? For example, Bitcoin and Ethereum, we don't ask for permission whenever someone wants to join the network. It's public, it's open for everyone to join. That's the first thing. Then we have the question, who's in charge or who's controlling this network of blockchain? So if no one specifically, all of us are going to control and contribute to the blockchain, it's called public, okay? Public authority. And then we have private. Private is like one organization controlling the blockchain. Maybe this doesn't make sense for the blockchain, but it could be helpful for some testing or academic purposes, something like that. And then we have consortium blockchain. Consortium blockchain where a set of, let's say, organizations are contributing to control this blockchain. It could be helpful for, let's say, companies. Companies are going to have communication between each other, but without having other external parties contributing or coming to their private, isolated system.
That's literally amazing, Ahmed. So actually, the blockchain, it looks like it pushed people to rethink the design, the way how they see the applications and domains. So could you just present us some examples of domains that were impacted, that evolved?
Yes.
Just impact that they evolved through blockchain application.
Yes, indeed. And there are a lot of fields that change it by just adapting this new way of thinking of this, let's say, changing from a decentralized to a more decentralized way of doing things. And here we can say, for example, we have identity, which is a very important topic for all of us. Identity, we are used to old model where we have central server for our informations. Of course, there are more than one model for managing identity. But with blockchain, we started talking about self-sovereign identity, the identity that we can manage it ourselves without depending from another entity that is going to control and manage our data for us. And of course, we have DeFi, which is the first, let's say, example of the first
Finance.
Yes, finance. And with Bitcoin and other solutions now we talk about decentralized finance. We can have financial activities and projects without that centralized entity. There are also CBDC. It's a new thing nowadays, and it's getting more popular day after the other. CBDC is central bank digital currency, and it could be, let's say, weird for a central bank to have a digital currency, but
no control.
Yes, but with CBDC we can offer, it's not going to eliminate the old cash system in any way, but it's going to contribute to have a more, let's say, regulated way of having money transfers, where the central bank can have exactly informations about the amount of money circulating in the world, and having more information and control to regulate this system.
Okay, so the question about CBC, we talk about blockchain, that is privacy
Yes.
of data, security, and then we're talking about the blockchain for CBC for confirm.
Mm-hmm.
A bit weird.
Yes. Actually, regarding the implementation itself of the CBDC, we have, for now, let's say we have just white papers, some projects that just started. We didn't test it for real to be sure, but the idea, and to share with you and with people watching us, the concept of CBDC and the architecture itself. Some of the architecture we can split it in two parts. The banking part, where we have a blockchain CBDC between banks, the central bank and the commercial banks. Okay, and then we have that part between the commercial banks and the end users. Okay, that's from architectural point of view.
Okay,
and the advantages when we are going to use CBDC, it's like, for example, here in Tunisia we have, let's say, when we buy something, we can have a contribution, let's say milk, for example. We don't pay the full price for that product, but the government is going to help the people to, with a certain percentage, to have this product for less amount. Yes. So if we have, let's say, imagine we use CBDC, and the central bank, who's the regulator of this system, can, with code, with smart contracts, say exactly which people are concerned with this specific.
Okay.
Yes. So now we have a more intelligent system where people, when they pay, I know exactly if you need or deserve that aid or not. That's just an example I mentioned now. But
so actually, we have this mug.
Yes.
Let's say it's for 5 dinar.
For example, yeah.
Its public price is 5 dinar.
Yes.
When I pay it, probably the transaction that will be reducted from the minus in my balance would be different if you buy it. And for the same public price.
Probably, yes.
Because the CDBC will detect that we're not at the same level of contribution from the government, and it will contribute differently based on our identity.
Exactly. And even
it's amazing.
Yes, and we can automate a lot of features, like, for example, if we have tax payment, and instead of going to a specialized person in a country, for example, to pay taxes, and with CBDC we can have tax deduction automated. Just when I receive the payment, taxes go to the government, then I receive my share of that payment. I don't want to say, but it's sometimes scary to a certain extent, because it's like giving up some control over our money.
Yeah, well, technology is always scary at the beginning. when it starts, then we get used to it.
Of course.
Like
Yeah.
artificial intelligence.
Yes.
It would be a good topic to talk about it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you a lot,
Thank you.
Ahmed, for being with us today. It was really nice to have you with us. I just hope to have you more and more for new episodes to talk about blockchain, more applications, because as I see, based on the domain of application, it's literally different. We're talking about new architectures.
Sure.
We're talking about new approach. It's literally different from domain to another domain of application of the blockchain. So it will be really great to have you more and more with us for Talan Talks Tech. Thank you.
Thank you.
a lot.
Thank you, Vero.
Thank you all for following us, for watching this episode about blockchain. Keep in touch and see you in 2 weeks.